Hi, so Charlie giving you Friday's live trading. I hope you're very well. And it's Non Farm Payrolls day today. So it's 10 past 8 in the morning. I don't think I'm going to be trading here this morning, but I could be. But if the markets decide to have a bit of a run, it's possible. But otherwise, I'm going to be waiting until post Non Farm Payrolls. What I'm going to be looking for. Well, I've been going through with the guys in the trading room. The potential is on both sides today. Sometimes I go into these key news announcements and I'm only really interested in one side of the market, either selling or buying, not both. But I see the potential today on both sides. I can see the potential for a retracement in the likes of the euro dollar cable. They've had these great runs. If we go out to the daily charts, amazing runs, and there's some divergent activity going on up here. But so of course there's scope for downside moves, but there's also scope for the euro to go up to that big psychological 120 zone, or start heading up that way. So, and a lot of traders out there are sitting there on the sidelines, hoping the euro dollar is going to pull back so that so that they can get long. The trend-based traders will be. So, have we got a lot of people who are looking for the reversal in the dollar? Lots of people have been looking for a reversal in the dollar. Maybe it comes. Like I said, there's divergences up there at the moment, and so yes, it could come. But the flip side to that is that lots of people are looking for the reversal in the dollar, and maybe therefore it doesn't happen, and we do shoot up that final leg. So I'm going to be quite willing to either be a buyer or a seller today, depending on how the reaction goes. So anyway, so I'll press pause for now, but it may well be that we're not really doing much until later. Okay, just back, and as I predicted, I haven't traded today, this morning at all, so it's now 1 o'clock. So I'm going to do a quick plan of action with you. We've got half an hour until the non-farm payrolls. So this is an hourly chart of the euro dollar. So the euro dollar has been coming down a bit so far today. Could I have shorted it this morning? Yeah, I could have done, but the risk was there that it could have carried on chopping around a bit like it did yesterday for about 6-7 hours, and then I just got caught up in the potential chop. So yes, it's come down. Could I have shorted that, made some money? Of course, hindsight's a wonderful thing, but the risk was that it just would have just carried on chopping around, so I didn't bother. So I'm going to trade post non-farms. I think we've got potential for some half decent moves here today. If we go out to the daily chart of the euro, first of all, we did a spinning top candlestick yesterday. We've come off already a bit here today. That started overnight, really. Anything could still happen. This could turn all the way back up again, of course. And there's two scenarios here, really. Technically, it looks like it could come down. My momentum indicators are waning and looking weaker, as this is starting to roll on the smaller time frames. And I'm willing to trade this on either side of the long or short here today. So technically it could come lower, but bearing in mind we've already done a half decent range for the day. It's not done its average range just yet, and of course on a big news day like today it could extend its range. But I have to also be wary, because of the type of news this is, that the scope could be there for a complete reversal, because 120 for the euro dollar is still potentially beckoning, and most people who are sitting there watching euro dollar are waiting for more of a pullback. So that's one side of the market, because a lot of people have been calling for the dollar bounce, which hasn't yet materialized, but maybe this is the start of it, maybe not. If a lot of people are looking for the dollar bounce, so maybe if we come all the way back up again, the euro's going to have a run, maybe going into next week for 120. So that's at the back of my mind in that regard. But coming back down to the smaller time frame, back down to the hourly charts for now, if we get a breakdown, then I will go with that here today. Looking at the 4-hour charts, everything's starting to roll. All my moving averages are starting to roll, so the scope is there. My momentum indicators, you can't quite see the momentum. I'm not going to drag it up now, but they've all gone a bit negative, and on some of the other time frames as well, even on the 8-hour charts. So the scope is there. If it wants to come down, that there could be more. I'm not saying that it's going to come all the way down today, because it's already done a half decent range, but I would want to at least be in and then hold that going into next week. So that would be the idea there. What if that's not what happens and it comes up? Well, if it comes up, it's got a bit of work to do because we've got my hourly 20 up here. It could just want to come up to there and then fail at that, so or stay there. So somewhere north of that, and then I'll get interested on the long side, because the potential is we come up back up to this sort of 118.80 zone where we've had lots of price action in recent days. We get somewhere back up into that area. I'd then look for it to then have that overall break and get well into the 119s if that was to happen. So I'm happy to trade on either side of the market today. The stop will be quite wide if I get in on the short side, because what I don't want to do, if it thunders down a bit, I'm not going to get in till it's already started to break down. So if it does break down a bit, then I'm going to have a stop somewhere up around about 118.50 just to give it enough room to breathe. And so we're talking 50 pips or so, maybe a bit more, as a stop loss. So I'm not going to be trading down effectively on the 5-minute charts with a stop loss based on the 5-minute charts. The stop will be that bit bigger because I'm going to really want to be holding this trade. This isn't a trade that I want to be in and out on. Even though this is Friday live trading video, I'm still going to trade how I want to be positioned. So anyway, so that's the overall plan. I could trade one of the other markets, Aussie dollar. If the markets do come up, if the dollar weakens, the Aussie is that bit stronger. So it wouldn't take much to get back up towards its highs here, and there could be a run up to its weekly 200, which is sitting at 72.57. So that is a potential for an outright day trade. But again, I can see that potential for euro dollar to get towards 120. So if they all start shoving up, then again, I quite like the euro dollar story. But certainly there's scope on the Aussie because it is that bit stronger today. Those are the two probably that I'll be looking at. Of course, I could look through all the markets, but you have to focus on just one or two. You can't. There's no point in me looking at all of them. So that's a loose plan at this stage with about 25 minutes to go. I'm favouring the short side because it has been weak and everything's rolling over. So that's what I'm favouring. These charts I'm going to take down when the news comes out. I'm going to just have the black charts up because I'm going to have this one running off screen on my other 3 screens on a different PC. So for the initial movements and stuff. But we'll see where we go, and if it breaks, I suspect it will break, but I'll have to wait for a little bit and then start edging my way in. So we'll see how we go. See you in 25 minutes. Okay, just back here. This is a 5-minute chart now. I'm just showing this 5-minute time frame here of the euro dollar, and I'm looking at all my other screens off screen at the moment. If I take trades, I've split my deal tickets into smaller units. I trade on Saxo Bank here. You can't put a bigger lot size in and then just take halves off and stuff. So I have to incrementally divide my trades up. So if I put it into 2 units, so to speak, of 40,000 per unit, then I'm risking close to £300 on that trade with a 50 pip stop, that is. If I realize I can trade with a smaller stop, then I'll increase the position size. But I'll be splitting this into 2 and to see which way we're going to go. All right, so I'll press pause for now. Okay, so we can see the spreads have widened right out there just ahead of the news. So let's let the news happen. Which way are we going to go? The non-farm payrolls are out. So the news is out. Let's just see which way we're going to fly. Looks like to the downside, maybe. Is it? Having to think about it. So there's nothing for me to do just yet. But if we are going to come down, I will look to get on the short side at some point if we are going to come down. Probably want to see a close now because we haven't flown out the blocks here. So if it does come down, then I'll probably be waiting for as I said, a close lower. So far fairly tame. Come on, give us something here. So it's coming down, but I'm probably going to have to wait for a close. It's possible I edge in. Well, like I've been talking about potentially edging in to the trade. and then adding once we got a bit more confirmation. Could I put my stop just on the 5-minute chart, just a bit above those highs? In theory, I could do. Here we go. So fingers on the triggers for the first part of this, but I haven't done it yet. What was I going to say? Looking, cables down as well. So okay, I'm going to put a 1 unit in. So I'm in with the unit here around about 03 or something like that, and I'm going to get that stop put in at 50. So the stop's going in about 50. So put the first unit in. This could just completely reverse. So I'm going to put it at 50, 118.50 for now. So I've only put half size position in so far, and I want a bit more confirmation if it's going to try and hold down. So so often they'll swing both ways on non-farm payrolls. Let's have a look here. Doesn't really matter. Jobs rise by 1.7 million or so versus 1.4 expected. So not too much volatility as it's turned out. But anyway, let's just see first of all. So I've got that first unit in, sold it. You know, it always is the potential that that's just the sucker to draw you in. But at the same time, I'm quite happy enough to put a half position in there, short, and then start. Then I can then look at building it if it's going to hold down there. But there's no point in me having a stop too tight. It's a bit pointless with this sort of the volatility that we can have. Now we're seeing a complete reversal, which is fair enough at the moment. We'll see what happens. So I don't need to do anything if it is going to come all the way up. I'm not going to be adding to the short on this. So I'll let it come up. If it comes up to 118.50, then that's, like I said, it'll be about half. It's a half position size on that. So because I said I was risking around about £300 total if I get both units in. So it'll be about half that, I suspect. Maybe yeah, about half that. Yeah. So now if it doesn't do too much, and then I can then add the second unit in at some point. So if we don't get too much movement, now we have got the potential for US Congress to come to an agreement on their stimulus package, maybe this afternoon at some point ahead of the weekend. So that's something which could be a market mover as well. But we don't know that that's definitely going to happen. So by any means. So at the moment, okay, it's coming up. This is the typical sort of thing that happens on non-farm payrolls. It will go both ways. So it looks like I've sold it right at the lows there. But yeah, pretty much at the lows. But I'd already been warning our guys that is the potential when you're going with the movement, that that's what can happen. So but that's why I've only put half a position in so far. Now, if this starts to roll back over a bit later, then I can then start looking at adding in. What happens if it comes all the way up? So if it does fire all the way up, then at some point I will consider this on the long side. When I was doing that analysis earlier on, we start getting back up into the sort of north of 118.60 or so, then I'm going to start looking at least at the potential for longs. But as it currently stands, this is just potentially just noise, and if that's all we're going to get, then at some point I'll be looking to add to the short and put the second one in. So I've put the half unit in so far just to give it that chance there. Now if that's it, and that bounce that we've just had up to what's that, 118.25, and that's all that we get, then I'll be looking to get that second unit in. So I'll press pause for now whilst we're just watching here. Okay, just back again, and so we're getting the bounce, an inevitable bounce going. The market so often goes in both directions on non-farm payrolls day, and then hopefully we get some actual directional move rather than just movement within the bars, and we actually get a bit of a trend going for the afternoon. So often we've seen in the US session of late that these currencies do have a bit of a run in one direction or another. So we'll see. It's still relatively close to my stops up at 50. We're currently at 36, 37, so it's not going to go too much further. And if it gets stopped out, I was saying to the guys in the trading room here, somewhere north of the hourly 50, which is my black moving average up here, so somewhere probably 186 to, I don't know, somewhere up around, maybe around about 118.70 might well be a zone that I'd be looking at. 60 to 70 anyway would be a zone that I'd be looking at. The smaller time frames, if I show you those, then all we've done at the moment is come up on the 15-minute chart to the 50 there on the 15-minute chart, and we've got other moving averages and stuff all coming down on top. So it's got a slice through all of those. So I can't justify getting in on the long side just yet. So I'll have to let it go up further and then pay up, because this could just be noise. So if I go out to the 4-hour charts, yeah, could just be noise, and so I've got to let it come up more. If that's going to be if I'm going to take a long, it has to come up further. So we shall soon see. So I'll press pause for now. Okay, I was just talking to the guys here. I'm actually going to change the stop because I've only got half position size in. I can do that. So I'm just going to give it a little bit more room actually, because I've figured out that my stop might be just in the wrong place. So I'm going to move that stop to 60. Now it could still get up to 60 and then still come off, but what I'm looking at, we've got the hourly 20 here is at 51, and we've got these highs here from early today. So it could want to come up and just nick those out and hit the moving average and then roll off. So I'm going to put my stop up at 60. It's a smaller position size that I've got at the moment. Now, and so I've just changed that. Now, if we start selling off, then I can move my stop back down to 50 and then get that second position in. But at the moment, while it's come up a bit, and you think, oh, it might just want to do that. Now, if it starts selling off, then I'll move the stop back down to 50 and then add my second position in. But for now, I've just moved that stop to 60, give it that little bit more room. I can afford to do it, well within my risk parameters, because I've got a smaller position size here at the moment. And so, yeah, let's do that. So I'll just press pause while we're waiting here. Okay, just back here, and it's given it up, so that's encouraging for the shorts. And remember that I've only got the one unit in so far. I want to get the second unit in, and somewhere around about 118.10, I'll see if it can get down that little bit further towards there. Now, sometimes you think, oh, why didn't you add in up here? Because the risk was of a complete reversal, and it's still a risk of reversal. But if I get in at 118.10, I don't actually have to get the tilt ticket over. If it comes to 118.10, I don't actually have to move. That stop can stay up there at 60 on both units. So here we go. We're about to go, by looks of things. Now it could still do a complete reversal, but still a slightly better entry than my first entry. So okay, that's going to have to do around about 11 then. Short at 11. Okay, so what I'm going to do is going to put the other stop loss in. Now this could still reverse all the way back up, but I'm going to leave that both the stops are going to be up there at 60. So let me just get this other one up. So shorted at 11 there. Oh, that's handy. It's defaulted to 60. There we go, 60 and a half. There we go. So 118.60. So short next unit at 11. Added at 11. Added at 11. I'm just going to put this onto our app. Second short at 11. And the first. Alrighty. Okay, let's see how we go. Can we do now? The reason I've been getting on the short side is from that analysis I did earlier on, that the overall on the bigger picture, this technically looked like it was trying to roll. Okay, technically it looks like it's trying to roll. Much of me would just as happily been on the long side. But technically, it looked like it wants to roll. I didn't want to try and sell it on a retracement because of the type of news that we've had, and it could have done a complete reversal up. So of course I could have shorted as it was retracing up, but it was just a bit too much noise and chop that's been going on generally in recent days. The risk is it's not worth me shorting it on that retracement, even though of course in hindsight that would have been a much better entry, and I could still get caught here, but at least I'm trying to look for a bit more confirmation to the downside. We've now just broken 118. So what am I actually looking for from this trade? Well, I doubt very much that this is going to resolve itself today, and so what I'm going to be looking for is a run down to the 117 area. So we're looking to run this into next week, essentially. So it'd be nice if it has a little bit more of a push this afternoon. Maybe it gets down to 117.80 or something like that. But and as I was showing earlier on, that's the 4-hour chart, and here's the 8-hour chart. So the risk is what is the risk? Being up at 60. I had one entry at 11, one entry at 03. So we'll call it about a net 55 pips, something like that. No, it's not. It's a net. We'll call it now. It's a net 50. So, so my net entry is at, let's call it 1807. Let's call it 07, something like that. And I'm looking for 117. So essentially, I'm risking 50 to make a bit over 100. So it's about a 1 to 2. Okay, a risk reward. So about a 1 to 2 if we can get down to the 117 zone next week. So I'm not looking for. It's already had a half decent range today. So have a look at the daily candle here. It's certainly done its daily range. Daily range at the moment is 90 pips. Doesn't mean to say it can't extend that range and have a larger down day if it is going to come down some more. But I'm not looking for too much more. Could be famous last words. So really it is about seeing if this can come down more going into next week, and that this isn't just a load of noise and it comes back up again. But looking at the other markets, let's have a look at cable, pound dollar. They're all doing similar things. All come off there. Cables come off. I believe Aussie was coming off as well. Yeah. So and Kiwi. So far across the board, if I can click on this. There we go, Kiwi. Across the board, we do have weakness across the board now. So let's hope that any retracements are just retracements now, and that it's done. They've done what they needed to do as far as the bounces were concerned, and we don't go and get a complete reversal. But as I've said, there is still that potential for US Congress to maybe come to some sort of agreement or not on the stimulus packages, so that could still send these markets around yet and send them back up. But at least for now, I've got the position in, so I've got normal full-size risk. I'm risking around about 300 quid on this trade now, and so we'll see how we get on. I'll press pause for now. Okay, just back here, and it's now, we can see the euros come down. So if we take this to that's the 4-hour chart. If we take it to the hourly chart, we had that big break. So it's come down. It's been as far as 117.60. I've been off the mic dog, and let's now go back to that 4-hour chart. So what I'm going to do is move the stop. It's at 60. I'm just going to move it down to 55 for now. That's the high. It's 10 pips above the high of this candle, the breakdown candle here. So let's just do that. Let's get these orders over. Remember, I've got 2, so that's one of them, and that's the other. Is right, so I'm moving down to 55, so I'm still not quite bringing it down to 50 just yet, but certainly moving it down to 55 on that one, and then 55 on that one. Okay, so is there anything else for me to do? Not particularly. Like I've said, I'm looking for really these lows to get taken at some point next week, so it'll be somewhere around that zone. That low zone is 116.95, so I'd like to get those taken out because that's a nice low point there and I definitely from the daily charts onwards, it looks decent for a downside move there, down to that low, but obviously nothing goes in a straight line. So that's the trade there for the euro. Having a bit of bounce, but I'm not too fussed about that. Let's go and have a look at the New Zealand dollar, because I was actually looking at trading the New Zealand dollar as well. Let's have a look and see what that's done. Similar looking move to the euro. While I've been gone, just walked out for the best part of the last hour just to walk the dog in this wonderful heat we've got. Don't worry, I was walking him in the woods. Yeah, I was looking to short the Kiwi, and it's I prefer it when we have a better down bar, a better close, because as I'm recording this, it's now 5 to 4 pretty much. So I'd rather that had a close with less of a lower wick. So as it stands, I might just leave that for the time being. But anyway, that's where we are with the euro dollar. I think I'm going to call this a wrap. So the day trading today has just been the one trade, hardly day trading per se. I had to wait for all that news, and really I'm looking for a bigger overall move. So I think we'll call that a wrap at this stage. But I guess I'll press pause for now, and then maybe I'll come back to this later. As it's only 4 o'clock, maybe I'll do a wrap later, and then this can go out in the morning, usually Saturday morning. Okay, I think we'll call today a wrap, and I think the euro's got down here to what, 117.60 or so. I think that it'll probably bounce a bit into maybe the early part of next week, but the general trend is down. When I'm looking at, this is an hourly chart and those higher time frame charts as well, so I think the general trend is down. So it's just a matter of time before it gets down to that target. So I think actually when you look at where we were at, had to be a bit cautious through the news itself, but we're now in a good position down here for this to carry on coming lower once we get into next week. Obviously, you never know 100%, but it looks that way. The pressure is to the downside until proven otherwise, as I often say. Enjoy your weekends. I'm just finishing this up at 7:10. I've been on a call for the last couple of hours, so I'll get this out to you on Saturday morning. As always, give us a thumbs up if you like the videos, and by all means add any comments you want to ask about today's trading or whatever. By all means, you're welcome to add anything there. Take care for now.